Welcome to the Staying In Podcast, Episode 1. I am Jamie James, Casually Explained, and in this episode, obviously, I'm going to be talking about what to expect from not only this episode, but future episodes of this podcast, what I'm trying to accomplish with it in terms of the type of content that's going to be showing up. And in this particular episode, I wanted to focus on a little bit about one of my favorite subjects, which is me. Which is as weird as is to say. I thought it might be a good first topic to approach because I imagine a lot of people on YouTube have seen the videos I've made, but no one knows too much about me, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my history, some of my bio, and how I eventually got into making YouTube videos and doing all this type of stuff that we're doing now. So I'm just going to turn the music down a little bit. I didn't realize how loud that was there. And okay, so first of all, the Staying In podcast is going to be live on Twitch TV at Casually Explained at 7 p.m. On Thursdays. And it's also going to be uploaded to the it's currently known as the Super Secret Future channel on YouTube, but it'll just be maybe renamed once this gets uploaded. And so the purpose of the podcast is I want it to be a bit of a companion to another show that I'm going to be hopefully starting very soon called What Makes It... Sorry, 7 p.m. Pacific. I see the chat on it. 7 p.m. Pacific. And I want it to be a bit of a companion to another show that I want to start doing on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific. And that show is going to be called What Makes It Good. And in that in that show, I want to be doing a sort of a maybe 1.5 hour live show that takes a look at different online content creators and takes a kind of a dive into what makes their content successful, what makes it good, what makes it different than other people, on YouTube or whatever it may be. And then in an ideal world, imagine this. Imagine Phil DeFranco. Imagine Bill Wirtz. What makes it good? And then during the Staying In podcast, we can get them on as a special guest. And is that going to happen? Who knows? So there's definitely going to be a few episodes where I'm going to be I'm going to be manning the helm. I'm just going to be here by myself, talking about various subjects, whatever the title may be. And we're going to be structuring in a way where in the beginning, have a bit of a chat, introduce the topic, and then we'll take some questions from the Casually Explained Discord, which you can find in the Twitch chat if you're interested. And then after that, we're going to go into some live Q&A directly from the chat from people who are listening in live. And each episode, I would imagine, for the podcast or What Makes It Good would last roughly an hour and a half. But you never know. We'll see how it develops. And as usual, if anything goes wrong, thankfully in the VOD, I can just edit it out or just not upload it at all. So pretty solid. All right. So let me see. Has that covered most of the ground of what this is going to be? I think it has. So, all right. I'll just awkwardly transition into the start of what I wanted to talk about, which is a bit of my history, a bit of where I came from, where I've been, and where I'm going. And then, anyway, just a bit of my history and how I ended up getting to where I am now, I guess, making some YouTube videos of all things. So many years ago, when I was born, I was born in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, over here on the West Coast. I say over here because I'm living here now. But when I was about 5 years old, I went with my mom to live in Australia, and we lived in a place called Hobart, Tasmania. And that's a little island underneath. If you're not familiar with your Australian geography, that's where I was. And I lived there from when I was 5 to when I was, would it be 12? I think I just turned 12 when I came back. And so I went to elementary school there. Over there, we call it primary school, in case you ever run across that at some point in your life. And when I came back, I got put into grade 6. just to be clear, I went over there, came back to Canada when I was 12 to see my dad and, live here. And so I got put into grade 6. And the thing that I was super stoked about was in Australia, you have an extra grade. You have a grade between kindergarten and grade 1 called prep. It's just a bonus grade. They throw it in there. That's it. So I was excited because I got to skip forward 6 months compared to what my friends had to do in Australia. But I was like, in hindsight, that's pretty fucking decent. But it turns out the real reason why I was excited is because Super Smash Bros. Brawl had already come out in Canada, but it would be another 6 months until it came out in Australia because, it takes a while to, ship the discs over there or whatever it might be. So anyway, I came back, and this is where you've seen the pictures. You've seen, well, not the actual pictures, but the pictures that I've drawn of myself in middle school, where I got the Skechers. I got the Skechers. I'm rocking the Skechers, and which will continue into high school. I will continue rocking the Skechers into high school. I have my colorful green sweatpants, and I have my skull shirts that kind of completes the look. Honestly, I was kind of fat too. I was really on one in middle school. So I came back from Australia, and I'm 12 or whatever, in grade 6. I know one person who's my friend, and I knew him since I was born. Like, literally, he was born 4 days before me. It's good because my birthday's in a week, so I just remembered it's his birthday. He was born 4 days before me. We're in hospital together. And, so we're hanging out. We're hanging out in our literal cribs. And so I knew him when I came back. So that was it. But besides that, I got my sweatpants. I got my skull shirt. I got my NASA fanny pack, which thankfully I didn't wear, but now I would wear it because it's pretty sick. And so I wasn't the coolest kid around of all time. But here's the thing. Grade 6 was not a great year. I dropped into the last 2 months when I came back to Canada, and last 2 months of grade 6. So I just struggled through that. That sucked. But in grade 7 and grade 8, I got put in some better classes. I started to meet some new people, some new friends. And one of those people was Sam, my friend Sam. If he ever shows up in the chat, his name is Defrep. So you can say hello to him. Still really, really, really good friends with him. And let's see, where was I gonna go with this? Oh, that's right. So, I'm starting to make some new friends. Grade 7, grade 8, not too bad. Making some new friends. And here's the thing that really steps it up. I started to pick up some hobbies. Some hobbies that I'd be like, you know what? People are gonna think this is pretty fucking cool. And so, what did I decide to pick up? Of course, pencil spinning and Rubik's cubing. All right, so everyone just keep your fucking pants on. All right, keep your fucking pants on. So here's the deal. Again, keep in mind, you gotta have this visual. You gotta have the visual. You have the outfit. You have the attitude. You have a guy with a, "Hi, my name's Jamie. I'm here to show you guys how to solve Rubik's cube and spin a pencil around your thumb." And now, honestly, who can resist that? So, as a bit of a side note, I don't have much more to this story, but the side note is I made a YouTube video way back then. And I don't know if someone's going to find this, but the very introduction is like, "Hi, today I'm going to be teaching you how to spin a pencil around your thumb. And this trick is called the thumb around. Again, because you're spinning a pencil around your thumb." And deadass, this video now has over 110,000 views. So I was fucking on one even back then. It took like 10 years to accumulate those, but I got there. So then I did pencil spinning, I did Rubik's cubing, and Rubik's cube. Here's the thing, like, this is gonna sound crazy dumb because it is, but I think the way that Rubik's cubing works is, you kind of intuitively solve the first 2 layers, and then for the final layer, you have to memorize some algorithms. And so I kind of got into this. I was really like the idea that everything could just be solved. Like, you could just memorize some stuff, practice a bit, and then someone in the chat's mentioning cup stacking. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I wasn't far off from trying that. I actually tried dice stacking. Have you ever seen that? But At any rate, so I got into Rubik's cubing. I eventually got a pretty decent time. You know, my personal best was 23 seconds, I think, 22, 23 seconds. And at the time, that's like a pretty decent solve, especially if you're I was gonna say, like, I was gonna make fun of myself for being like a dumb kid, but I gotta say, all the other like the people of the world record were just like, you know, like a some 13-year-old kid who also didn't have friends. It was the same situation. So at any rate, let's fast forward a little bit. From grade 6, since I moved back to Canada, every single year got better and better for me. You know, I kind of started figuring out you know, how puberty worked. You know, not only did I lose my accent, my voice also changed a little bit. So, you know, I had that going for me. And after I did those little dumb little hobbies, I got into photography. And so the thing that I loved about photography was that in terms of actual, like, you imagine it like this, like if you're learning drawing, you need a very high level of mechanical skill. You need to practice all the shapes. You need to learn how to, you know, hold the pencil, use the pencil. Like, hey, how do you shade this in? I don't know. I'm just gonna have to do it like 5,000 times till I figure it out. With photography, ultimately, if someone knew what they were doing and they set the camera up for you, and yo, fucking someone linking the pencil spitting vid. Let's see if it's right. See if someone got the right one. At any rate, the thing with the photography is really cool is if you get someone who's a professional photographer to set the photo up for you and you just press the shutter button, you've now taken a world-class photo. So in a way, it's like you don't need as much mechanical skill. What you need is like a bunch of knowledge. You need to actually understand how the lenses work, how the exposure works, how composition and framing works, and then the thanks to Raptor. And the big thing is actually being able to go and find pictures and find locations and put yourself in a situation where you can take a photo that no one else has ever taken before. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that it was really neat that there's not really a mechanical difficulty. It was more like, okay, you just need a decent camera, you need to know how the focal lengths work, all this type of stuff. So I got really into that. I took a bunch of photos. I at least for like my age, I guess, I feel like I was pretty good at it, had a good understanding of it. And I eventually got to this point where maybe I can find the photos and link some of them at some point. But I feel like I was like, oh yeah, you know, I really have a good grasp of composition, good grasp of how exposure works. I have a good grasp of focal length and how to use different lenses and all that type of thing. And I started a bit of filmmaking, started to learn how to use After Effects and different editing software. And I kind of got to this point where I was like, you know what? Because I had this idea, you know, because I was like 13, you know, and I was thinking, man, I'd love to be a National Geographic photographer. I want to just like go take the most amazing photos of all time. And really what I found out was the people who are National Geographic photographers and like world-class photographers, like the difference is not how well you can frame the photo. It's not your understanding of exposure. It's not your equipment, because all of these guys have the best of all of those things. All that stuff is actually not that hard. What they do is like, you look at some of these documentaries and it's like, hey, you want to get this little picture of these eagles who live up in the, you know, northern parts of North America where it's frigid cold. And it's like, you have to camp out in a little tent that looks like a bush for 2 weeks, hoping, praying that you're going to see these eagles show up and they're going to fall into your lens or this bait that you put. And what I realized was like, I didn't want to do all that shit. That was way too fucking hard. So then I was like, okay, photography's not for me. I'm done. I'm going to move on. So interestingly enough, right around that time, I think I was 13. I think I just turned 14, a little bit after I turned 14. Guess what happened to come out? Of course, you guessed it. For anyone who's been in the Twitch stream for a while, it's StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 comes out. I am very excited because I never played StarCraft 1. I was a little bit too young for it in general. But I fell in love with the idea of StarCraft 2 because to me it was like fast-paced, a level of mechanical skill, but it was like chess. You know, it was a strategy game. You need to figure out the strategy you execute the strategy, and then you win and you become the best player in the world. And I thought it was amazing. So when StarCraft 2 came out, I must have been, well, because the beta came out before the actual game, but I watched people play the beta 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, as much as I could possibly absorb. And when the game came out, I was, oh my God, I was so stoked. I played that game, no joke, 6 hours a day. I would come home from school. I'd get home from school like 3:45. I'd just play and watch streams for 6 hours and go to sleep at like, you know, do the homework I had to do for an hour and then go to sleep at like 11, 11:30, 12. And I just lived and breathed that game for a solid year. And when someone in the chat's like, Jesus, you're a nerd. Yeah, it's just beginning. We're just starting. And so my story with that is because it was honestly, there's never been something that I tried so hard to be good at. And when I let me think. When I started, I remember playing, because when you start the game and you start playing online against other people, you play 5 placement matches. And so you play 5 placement matches, it puts you in a league. And the leagues at the time were bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. There was 4 leagues, I believe. There might have been diamond as well, which makes there 5. I think there was diamond, but you couldn't get placed into it. You could only get placed into platinum and then move your way up. I think that's right. I'm not exactly sure. So anyway, in my first 5 games, I won 4 of them. I got put in platinum. And I was like, holy shit. All right, top 40%. Top 40%, let's go. All right, I'm a gamer. I'm gaming out here. And I just put in more time, and then very quickly I got to diamond. I was in that top 20%. And then they introduced Masters League. And hang on a second, let me just drop in. Let me just make sure there's a bit of... I want to check the background music. Sorry, one sec, real quick. Actually, it's probably better I don't, just for the copyright situation. But anyway, so they introduced Masters League, and Masters League was top 2%. So top 2%, you know, this is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. It came out, boom, got put in it right away, and I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm gaming out here. I'm playing. Whew. Let's go. Meanwhile, all my friends are like, hey, do you want to come hang out and do this activity? I don't even know what people do because I didn't even know what activities happened in high school because I just didn't do any of them. I just played StarCraft. You know, my mom was like, I hope my son is all right. He's just playing that video game all day. At any rate, I was like, all right, I'm playing. Okay, so top 2%, that's pretty solid. Then they introduced a new thing. This new thing was Grandmaster League. Right? Grandmaster League. So Grandmaster League was top 200 in the server. So the servers were like North America, Asia. There's Asia, and then there's Korea. Korea has its own fucking server, obviously. And then South America. And South America very quickly got merged with North America because South American players were trash at the game, no offense, but they were. And so it's small region, you know, in terms of player base. So anyway, it was a North America and South America server. So it was the top 200 in North America and South America. It was just called the Americas. And I made this my goal. It was like my life fucking goal. I was like 14, but it was my life goal to make it into the top 200 of these servers. So, or this server. And so again, I was just playing 6 hours a day at least, reading as much as I can, watching strategy, watching pro players, and just grinding the ladder and just playing all the time. And then just randomly, like serendipitously, just through just grinding it out constantly, it was like, hey, guess what, kid? Good job, you have this because you don't have much else. Yo, you're top 200 in the Americas. And I was like, holy shit, I fucking made it. I'm there. I've done it. I've done something at least. And so I was in the Grandmaster ranking. And I was like, this is like the most important thing that I've ever done. And I was like, hey, Dad, I have made it into StarCraft 2 Grandmasters. And he was like, oh, that's great. And I was like, no, Dad, you don't understand. Do you understand how important this is? And he's like, oh, no, I don't understand at all. And I was like, well, let me explain. And then I was like explaining all these, like how I did it, how I beat this guy with my with my two base robo 4-gate strategy that I stole from someone in the GSL. And he's like, oh, that's good for you, kid. And that was good. And but then I was like, well, what do I do now? Okay, well, I'm in the top 200. That's pretty good. That's what I thought. I thought I was doing a great job. And I thought, okay, well, what's the next thing? What's the next thing I can do? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best in the world. And okay, yeah, rookie mistake. In hindsight, rookie mistake. However, I was like, I'm going to be the highest ranking person on this ladder. And so I'm going to skip all the failure and just go to this point. This was the peak moment possibly in my life. This is the moment I just peaked in general. So there's a guy named Huck, a guy named Liquid Huck. And he was a North American, and he was living in Korea at the time to compete in the GSL. And he was going to be one of the foreigners. In StarCraft, when you say foreigner, it actually means non-Korean. So anyway, he was living in Korea, playing in the GSL, and but while he was training, he was playing on North America server because he didn't want everyone he was gonna be playing against, stealing his strats and like seeing his gameplay and all that type of stuff. So he was playing on the North America server, and so I was there obviously trying to stream snipe him, which means when he queues up for a game, I queue up for a game so you can play together, and so I queue up for a game, he queues up for a game, and it's pretty bad manner to watch the stream while you're playing him, obviously, but to queue up at the same time was pretty common. So I queued up at the same time, and I didn't get him. I got a guy named Startail Bomber. If anyone's familiar, if you don't know StarCraft, I'm sorry, this is very weird, but I got a guy named Startail Bomber, and he was one of the best Terran players at the time. He's Korean as well, but he was trying to stream snipe Huck. And so we played, and as soon as the game started, I was like, holy fuck, I'm playing Bomber, dude. This guy's a fucking legend. This guy's incredibly good. I'm gonna have to bring my fucking A game, dude. I'm ready to go. So the game starts, I split my probes, and he leaves the game. And I was like, oh, I fucking got him, dude. Fucking mentally outplayed him. So I queue up, because obviously he's trying to stream snipe Huck, right? So he just leaves the game. He doesn't care. So he leaves. I get like a fuck ton of ladder points because he's so high rated. And then we queue up again because I'm trying to stream snipe Huck. He's trying to stream snipe Huck. And we queue up again. We both hit each other. We don't hit Huck. I hit Startail Bomber again. Game starts. He leaves. Dude, I get those ladder points. I'm taking those ladder points. So easy dubs, dude. Easy dubs. Beat him twice. Honestly, played him. Beat him twice. So there you go. And then so the game ends, right? And we both try to stream snipe Huck for a third time. Guess who gets Huck? Not him. I get him because now my ladder points are hella high. So I match up with Huck, and it's PvP, right? Protoss versus Protoss. We both play the same race. And he was experimenting with this new 4-gate strategy, which is one where you build a pylon on the low ground, you rush a zealot in, and you warp zealots in on the high ground, and then you just go kill them. And this was a strategy that I tried 5 trillion times because I was like, I hate this strategy. I hate when people rush me. I like playing macro games. This pisses me the fuck off. So I had this, at the time, I had this strategy that I did that was really suboptimal, but it was like very rock, paper, scissors-y. So I'd go and scout with the Zealot and the Stalker, and if I would see the probe come back, his scouting probe come back, I would make my Zealot and Stalker hold position on the ramp so nothing could come up. And so I got really lucky because he was rushing. He couldn't get his Zealots up. I miss micro because I'm an idiot. He gets his Zealot up, but somehow I managed to hold off this rush. I make Blink Stalkers go and kill him. He says GG. He was number 1 on the ladder. Fucking beat him, dude. Fucking beat him, bro. Fuck, there it is. You know what? You know what happened later? About 6 months ago, Huck sent me a message, unrelated. He has no idea who I am. And he's like, hey man, really like your videos. And I was like, holy shit, dude. fucking 2-0. Me versus Huck, 2-0 in life. There it is. Anyway, I got massively lucky. I won that game. So at that point, after getting those sweet juicy ladder points, I was 8th in the North and South America servers. I was ranked 8th. And I was like, holy shit, I'm at 8th. I'm going to queue up for another game because maybe I can get to number 1. I queue up for another game. I get Startail Bomber a third time. He's like, good luck, have fun. And he just plays the game out, fucking absolutely destroys the shit out of me. I have never felt so outclassed in my entire life. It was not even fucking close. I got so destroyed that I was like, I'm quitting this game. And I did. Did. So, all right. So good segue, because what happens to all washed up StarCraft 2 pros? They switch from StarCraft to poker. So, this is right when Heart of the Swarm was coming out too, and I was like, I don't want to learn a new game. It's kind of dying because all the Koreans who used to play StarCraft 1, their contracts expired, so they were switching over to StarCraft 2, and I was like, well, a new game's coming out, an expansion with new units and stuff, and all the Koreans are playing. I'm done. So I got the fuck out of there. And I did what a lot of StarCraft professionals did, which is switch to online poker. So the thing with online poker is that here's the idea. If you're good at online strategy games like StarCraft, you're going to be good at poker because poker is a strategy game. A lot of people think erroneously that poker is a game of reading people. And it's like, it's not. That's a tactic. People think that poker is a game of math. And it's like, yeah, it is sort of a game of math fundamentally, but that's more of a tactic that you use. Fundamentally, poker is a strategy game. So if you have your fucking math PhD and no common sense, you're going to lose all your money. If you think you know how to read, Uncle Jim who only bets when he has the nuts, and you think you know how to read people, you're going to lose all your money. What you need is strategy. So anyway, I got into poker, and I deposited $11. Keep in mind I'm 15, right? And you're like, hey, are you allowed to play poker when you're 15? Hey, there's no laws in Canada. So anyway, I deposited $11, and I lost it right away. And then I was like, oh shit, I gotta straighten myself up. I thought this was gonna be easy. After all, I'm the 8th best StarCraft player. 8th best StarCraft player in North America. Should be easy, right? So anyway, I deposited another $11. And that was it. I never deposited any more money. I just played with that and built it up over time. So in poker, you start off playing low stakes. You play 2 no limit, which is $2 on the table. Then you move up to 5 no limit, $5 on the table. Then 10, 25, 50, 100, 200, and so on, so on, so on. And so and here's the thing, like each subsequent level, people get better and better. The strategy gets, more and more nuanced. People get, in general, they get better. And so the thing that I found interesting was the style that I played was there's 2 ways that you can play poker, really. So, there's tournaments and cash games, which are different. So cash games, you just sit on the table with money and you win and lose money. Tournaments are when you buy chips and then you play to try to win a prize for a placement. But I only played cash games. But there's 2 ways you can play cash games. And so you can play cash games. You can play cash games by playing for high stakes, but you only play 1 or 2 tables, and you only play with people you know. And so the way that you make money is by A, playing with people who are worse than you, but they think they're better than you, or B, following around people who are like rich businessmen who are just playing for fun, and you basically just take their money. So that's where most professional poker players, like when you watch televised poker, televised cash games, what you see is people are playing these high stakes games with people they know. And they think they're going to make money because they have an edge over other people. And those people don't have an edge over them, but they think they do. So that's where those high stakes game comes in. The way that I played was because I was more of a, quote unquote strategy person, was what's called rakeback grinding. And rakeback grinding is basically also known as mass multi-tabling, where you would play 24 like usually around 24 tables of poker at the same time. I actually transitioned to playing what's called Zoom. And Zoom is a type of poker where as soon as you fold your hand, you're moved to a new table and you're dealt a new hand. So you can just crank those things in, like crank them out really fast. I think at some point I was like, 4 tables of Zoom is roughly 1,200 hands an hour, which is like, it sounds weird. Like it sounds like, how is this even possible? But it becomes so mechanical that it's just like, you know, you're just pressing buttons, right? So I was playing, you know, 1,200 hands an hour of fucking poker. And the way it works for the rakeback grinding is the company who runs the poker tables takes a percentage of every pot. So a few people in chat are a little bit lost. At any rate, the theme is this. One way of playing is you can play against a table of players that you know really well, get really good reads, really good history, play them that way. The other way is playing against random opponents you pay no attention to. You play an optimal game, and you try to win a little bit, but really what you're doing is you make a bunch of money for the company, and then they give you some money back for being a frequent player. So you can imagine it, if the house is taking 2% of every pot, and you've made the company like $100,000 because you've played, I think when I stopped playing, I played 1.5 million hands of poker. Because you've made the company $1 million. Well, that's not true. Like, say you make the company like $50,000, they'll give you back like $25,000 for being one of their most frequent players. I played on PokerStars because I'm Canadian, and there's different ranks you can get, and you get a certain amount of money back for different things. And so there's the highest rank is called Supernova Elite. And that's what I was trying to go for, because all the StarCraft pros were Supernova Elite, like a guy named Elky, if you ever heard of him. And it's so there's like 200 people who are Supernova Elite at the time. And I was one rank below that. I was Supernova, which is still pretty fucking good in terms of that type of shit. And so I was like, yeah, you know what? This year I'm going to go for Supernova Elite. And then I realized just how incredibly, like, the insane amount of volume you had to do to get there. And the thing with poker that's frustrating is the ups and downs are just so insane, where it's like you can make every single right decision. You can make every decision correctly and still lose money. And you start thinking like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, what's the point of this? Like, there's a thing called expected value, which is if everything went mathematically correctly, how much money would you have made? And then sometimes it's like, hey, you should have made $1,000 today. And then you actually end up losing like $2,000. And you're like, this is fucking stupid. Like, you can imagine going to your 9 to 5. And at the end of the day, you're like, man, I did a great job today. And your boss is like, I'm taking $2,000 from your pension. And you're like, what the fuck? Are you fucking serious? So that's what happens. Incredibly emotionally stressful, very draining. And at a certain point, what I eventually realized was like, holy shit, I was playing a game, and you have these things called poker trackers, and everyone has them at a certain level, where it basically records all the hands that you played with someone and gives you stats. It's kind of like if you had a notepad and pen writing down everyone's plays and then aggregated that data. And so the thing that would happen is you would be playing against these different people that you see all the time. And like, you know, you see this guy's won $50 off you. This guy's won $100 off of you. This guy's won $500 off you, but you've won, you know, $700 off this guy. And then you'd see people who have just lost just in the hands that you've seen, like $10,000. And you'd be like, holy shit, this guy's lost $10,000. Like, not to you, but just in all the hands that you've watched and to you. And you'd be thinking, holy shit, this person has clearly lost over $50,000 playing this game. This is absolutely insane. Like, are they okay? Like, you just hope they're a rich business dude who likes, you know, blowing money on poker or something. But what I eventually realized was like, poker in a sense is a zero-sum game. It is literally a zero-sum game where it's like you can never make money unless someone else loses money. And I just realized, like, man, this sucks. Like, am I gonna, like, is this really something that I want to do for, a job? Do I want to be, would I even want to be good at this? Because you can't make money unless you take it from someone else, and you're not producing anything, you're not adding anything to the world. And I was like, shit, it's kind of bad. So then I kind of stopped. And just a couple people are asking about the poker tracker. The poker trackers are not at all illegal. They're or against terms of service. At a certain level, every single person uses a poker tracker. What they are is like imagining just writing down notes of like, hey, how many times out of 100 did a person open a hand? 20% of the time, that means they're opening 20% of their range. And that lets you understand what cards people might have and that type of stuff. It's very helpful, and like everyone uses one, but it's not like you get access to stuff that you wouldn't have known by remembering really well. At any rate, so I decided to quit poker, even though I think it's an amazing game. It's a really, really cool game. It's very, it's like StarCraft in a way, but it's even more, there's more consequences. It's kind of cool. It's like, if you think something like MMA or like jiu-jitsu is like, it's like chess, but if you fuck up, you get choked out. This is like, it's the same thing. It's like chess, but if you fuck up, you lose your money. It's really cool. So anyway, after I did that, I must have been, I don't know, I was probably like 17 or something like that, 16, 17. And I had nothing to do. I think I had one of the worst summers that I can possibly imagine, because it was right around the time that I was graduating from high school. And I was like, what do I do? And I wasn't doing anything. So I was like, I just started reading, going on Reddit, all this type of stuff at the time. Like people were talking about like New Year's resolutions, and like that doesn't make any sense. That's not when you graduate school, but at least I ran across it somehow. But I was like, you know what? Well, maybe an activity I can get into is like weightlifting, like powerlifting, like do something physical, because I'm always just inside doing nothing. So I started going to the gym a lot, and that was really good. I got into powerlifting, and as anyone knows about powerlifting, you just injure yourself immediately. But that was it. And like over that summer, I was just going to the gym, but that was it. I was just going to the gym, and you can only go to the gym for like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. And like, what the fuck are you going to do besides that? So I'd come home and I'd just be miserable. I was like, I have nothing to do. Like, this sucks. So I was just kind of going through summer, hanging out with friends and that type of thing. No idea what I wanted to accomplish. And so it was kind of shitty. Like, I was like, I kept thinking, should I go back to poker? So I should go back to this. Could I get into something? And just nothing was really working right. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll just go to university, because that's the obvious thing. So I applied to, earlier that year even, I applied to UBC, and I applied to UVic. And so UBC is the University of British Columbia. It's in Vancouver. It's a really, really good university. And I was like, well, I want to go into engineering and then do materials engineering, because I thought that was cool. Like, I like materials. And so I applied, and they wrote back, and they were like, hey, guess what? So here's the deal. Your grades are fine. You've passed all the admission requirements. That's good. Good for you. Being responsible in high school, taking all the classes you need to do. That was good. Getting good grades. You are welcome to come to this university. Just kidding. You're not, because you don't speak. You don't speak. You did not take a grade 10 language. And I was like, a grade 10 language? Are you serious? And they're like, yes. Well, actually, anyone who lives in this province is required to take a grade 10 language in order to attend this university. And I had so many questions, because I was like, wait, I'm taking materials engineering, and you're saying I need to know how to count to 100 in French? And they're like, or Japanese. And I was like, are you kidding me? And they're like, well, this only applies to people in BC. It's actually like a provincial requirement. If someone comes in from a different province, they don't need it. And I was like, this is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. You can go fucking shove your application requirements you know. And so then I was like, all right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go live in France for 5 months. So I did. So I went to live in France. I moved to France and lived there for 5 months in order to spite UBC. And so while I was there, I took a French course. I now have reasonably okay French, and I had a great time. I met all these people from Latin America, from Asia, from Europe, and it was good. It was a very good growth experience. I talked about it in my most recent video, so go take a look at that. At any rate, so I was there for 5 or 6 months, and I was there for 5 or 6 months. I come back to Canada because I thought I was going to live there because I actually have European citizenship. And so I was like, maybe I'll just move here just to really put the nail in the coffin, just really stick one to the shitty educational institutes of British Columbia. But anyway, I came back because I kind of didn't like it that much. It turns out if you go live in another country, you start realizing all the stuff that you took for granted back at home. So I came back, and let me look at my notes so I can actually remember what I've done with my life. Oh, that's right. So I came back, and it was still it was the next year, and it was about springtime, and so I wasn't in school, and it was coming up to summer, and so I had nothing to do, and I'd just come back, and I got a phone call from Sam, my friend Sam that I mentioned earlier, and he said, hey Jamie, so do you want a job? And I was like, oh, not really, but what is it? And he was like, yeah, so I'm working at this souvenir store, and like they're looking for another person. Like, do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, not really, but I will. So I go down, I walk downtown, and I meet this guy, and this guy's like, who's running the souvenir store, and he's like, all right, so hey, welcome, Jamie, right? Yeah. So what kind of job experience do you have prior to this? Like, have you worked retail before? And I was like, no. And he was like, okay, right. So like, what other kind of jobs have you had? And I was like, I did landscaping for a month once. And he's like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Well, anyway, you seem like a good kid. Do you want to come work? And I was like, okay. And so I had a job. I had a summer job. And I don't really want to linger on this story too long because anyway, not the greatest experience of all time. I talk about this to Sam pretty frequently because it really just stuck in our minds, for some reason. I was like, Sam, do you remember that year that we worked at the souvenir store? And he's like, fuck, dude. That was a rough time, man. Like, do you remember we had to go in the dungeon and like fold the shirts and then bring the shirts up and then like do this, and like we were always working even if there was no work to do, we had to work, and it was like, Jesus, like, man, imagine spending a year like that again. And then someone else always reminds us that it's like, you guys worked there for 2.5 months. And we're like, there's no way that we worked there for 2.5 months. They're like, no, it was a summer seasonal shop, it was only open for like 3 months. And we were like, nah, you're definitely wrong. Definitely wrong. And then I go look at my paycheck, and it was like, $2,000 or some shit. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe that was right. So anyway, that was bad. But what I learned from that was that I didn't want to work for someone else, especially in a souvenir store, but particularly didn't want to work for someone else. So at the end of that summer, went to university. I went to the local university, which is the University of Victoria, which is a good university, and I took engineering. So the first year of engineering for anyone going to university here is general. You just take sciences. You have to take a lot of courses. I think I took 12 courses that first year, but they're like computer science, they're math, they're computer science, they're physics, chemistry, statics, engineering, technical writing, and some other one, making a robot or some shit. And so it sucked, right? But you'd have to take that stuff, and then based on your grades, you're allowed to choose a different engineering to specialize in. And I wanted to go into software engineering. So, but at any rate, I started and I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just become Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates with my engineering degree. And so anyway, turns out near the end of the first semester, which is 3 months in, I'm like, God, this sucks. This really sucks, man. There's so much homework. Everyone here is kind of weird. No offense to the engineers in chat, I'm sure. I was like, I don't know, dude. And I was like, you know what? But like, what else am I gonna do? There's nothing else I can do. So I thought, you know what? Maybe if I learn the concepts and explain them in a YouTube video, that would help motivate me to learn the material. And so that's what I did. And the very first video I made was one called Calculus in 20 Seconds. It was originally going to be Calculus in 20 Minutes because I was going to actually learn calculus. It turns out that I that wasn't me. I realized that there's so many other videos that are just done perfectly by people with like, you know, bachelor's degrees or masters in mathematics that I was like, what am I doing? And so I just made a joke. I made a fucking joke. Uploaded it to YouTube. You can check this out. It was uploaded, I think, on December 7th, which is right, you know, exam season. And I posted it on a subreddit called YouTube Haiku. And YouTube Haiku was videos videos that are under 30 seconds long. And so I posted it there. I went to sleep. I woke up, and it turns out that someone cross-posted it to r/videos, and it hit the front page on both of those subreddits. And the video had 300,000 views when I woke up. And I was like, holy shit, I am going to get a call from Ellen at any moment. And I'm still waiting, but it was a good start nonetheless. So then I was like, well, I'll just do this again. And I made a similar video, not quite as good, but it got maybe 100,000, 120,000 views. And then I was like, you know what? I gotta live up to the Casually Explained name. So I made Absolute Hot. And I'm telling you, dude, that was an absolute banger, dude. Natalie Dormer did not let me down. Front page of Reddit, 400, 500,000 views. And I probably had 10 or 20,000 subscribers after 3 videos. And I was like, holy shit, this might be something. This could be something. And I made Casually Explained Evolution, which is an idea I had for a long time. 500,000 views, another 20, 30,000 subscribers. And I was like, holy shit, is this actually, am I doing something here? So I'd go to school because I was in the second semester. I'd go to school, get all my work done. I'd skip every class that wasn't mandatory. I'd just, go look up Khan Academy or something. And I do all the homework I had to do. And then on the weekends and then late at night, I would just like bang out videos. And I was like, man, I've made like 4 really successful videos in a row. Like, this is fucking it. And then I made another video and like no one watched it. It was trash. It got like 30,000 views or 20,000, not 30,000 views, way less than that. 10,000 views, 15,000 views. And I was like, and so I just kept going on this thing where it was like one video would hit, one video wouldn't hit, one video would hit, 2 videos would not hit, 2 videos would hit. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to make it or like what's going on. And then I made Is She Into You? And Is She Into You, like, it came to me because I was just hanging out with Jimmy. And Jimmy, again, a regular stream personality and a very, very close friend that you'll become familiar with if you ever listen to a lot of these. And he was in a situation where he's like talking about this girl that he's literally been I don't want to ruin his story, but imagine dating someone for 8 months and being like, yeah, dude, like I'm thinking about asking her out on a date. And it's like, are you serious? Like everyone thought you guys were dating for a year. Are you fucking serious? Like what? And so I was like, this gives me an idea to exploit Jimmy's love life for YouTube views. So I ran home and it was like 3 a.m. and we were just like out doing something. So then I just fell asleep, woke up, made the video in like 4 hours. Boom, it was out. Is She Into You? Best video I've ever made. There it is. You can see in the bottom right of the first frame, dedicated to Jimmy. That's the payment that he gets for making my whole career. So at any rate, that was it. At that point, I think it ended up getting me up to 300, 400,000 subscribers. And at that point, we were closing in on the end of my second semester. And so at the end of my second semester, I enrolled in summer classes, but I was like, I was really thinking about dropping out because I was like, you know what? I could probably afford to move out. I could do this all the time. I don't even need to go to school. And I talked about it to my dad, and my dad was actually like, yeah, dude, because he has a crazy story himself. Like, maybe we can get into that one time. But he basically left home when he was young. He's sort of much older. He's baby boomer generation type thing. He left home when he was like 17 and then like traveled across Canada and then built a boat off a library book. Then sailed the world off of a boat that he built. So he was like, you know what? I think you should go for it, Jamie. And I was like, thanks, Dad. And that was great. And then my mom was like obviously not a fan. And so at any rate, I decided to drop out. I did a little bit of those summer courses, but then I dropped out. I moved out, and I've been doing the YouTube situation ever since. And it was just been a very good experience, linear growth, really had some good progress. And then it got to a point after maybe a year and a half where, you know, every month I would get 6 million views total. 6 million views total, something like that. 50,000 subscribers every month. And I was like, surprisingly enough, like, I was like, what am I trying to do? And it's like, I moved out. I was financially independent. I lived by myself. I could basically make my own schedule the way that I wanted to. And I was in a situation where I was like, shit, like, I have like no motivation. Because I was like, besides just maintaining this, what am I trying to do? And then so for maybe 6 months, I was like, God, what do I do? Like, I like, don't get me wrong, I was very happy to be there, very, you know, grateful to be in that situation. But I was like, wow, I got out of all the things that I didn't want. Like, say didn't want to be in school, wanted to live by myself, wanted to be financially independent, did that. What do I do now? And I couldn't figure it out. And so I was in this spot where I was like, well, maybe I just make more videos. Do I make less videos? Do I live that CGP Grey lifestyle where I make a video every 6 months and start a podcast? But I didn't know. And so for 6 months, I was just like, what do I do? I couldn't figure it out. I had no idea. And it took me a long time. And then what I eventually slowly managed to piece together, I just read a lot. I just read so much about historical figures and writers and people who've been through shit in their own life. And I was like, man, I want to know everything that I could know. I want to know about how people are motivated. I want to know how people think. I want to know what makes people happy. I want to know all this. So I just started reading and absorbing everything that I could. And it didn't help at all. It was fucking useless. So, well, I mean, maybe it helped a bit, but at any rate. So I eventually I was like, well, you know what I need to do? I need to think, like, how can I set some goals for myself that would be worth achieving? You know, what is something that I could reach for that would be significant? And I was like, this is definitely a good piece. You know, this is a good idea. I should definitely have these big goals that I'm aiming at. And so I started thinking about that, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, maybe, like, what if I decided I wanted like 10 million subscribers? Like, what would I have to do to get there? What would I have to do this? Like, what if I could like write a book? What if I could make some merch, you know, like that type of thing? And like nothing really stuck. I was like, I'm not really sure. And I started just asking myself, okay, well, what is something small that you could do that you would like to do? And so that's where I came up with the idea of streaming. Actually, before I came up with streaming, I actually thought making a podcast and making a new show involving me in front of a camera, #FaceReveal. And I was like, I could do this, and this could be a new type of content that I make. And I got really excited. I had some people that I was talking to that I was going to work with. And then I made the first episode of this thing that I wanted to make. And I was like, this takes just as much time as my other videos. I can only pick one or the other. And then I realized, like, well, if it's one or the other, it's definitely going to be Casually Explained. There's no way I could choose anything else. And so that whole thing went into remission. And I was like, I'm just going to keep making these videos, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I can go to the gym more. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can get a hobby. Get a girlfriend? Nah. No. Anyway, just kidding. So eventually I got to this point where I was like, okay, well, what is it that I can do that I would actually enjoy doing? What is a small thing I could do that I would like to do? And so I said, I was like, you know, I can start streaming. You know, I can start streaming. That'd be kind of cool. I've always liked video games. I like playing video games. I'm good at video games. I think that's a good idea. So I started streaming. And I did that. I've been doing that in the last 4 months or something like that. And, you know, at the very beginning, there was like 10 viewers. Then I tweeted about it, and then there was 20 viewers. And then I made a YouTube video about it, and there was 100 viewers. And I was like, all right, you know what I need to do? I need to actually make a reason why people are going to show up and watch. And I thought to myself, you know what I could do? these ideas that I had previously of doing like, a face reveal, doing this stuff in front of the camera, I had this idea for a show called What Makes It Good, which I mentioned before. And it ended up being too much work, so I didn't do it. And what I realized was like, you know what I could do? I could make a podcast. Like I also plan to do a podcast. And I was like, I could do a podcast. I could do it live. I can take the recording, interact with the chat, which I haven't done yet. I'm going to do it in a sec. And put that on YouTube and then sort of make those audiences merge back and forth. And that's a good idea. And then the What Makes It Good sort of thing, I was like, if I do it live, I can kind of just do it as I go along, edit it down to be shorter. And I think this would be a really cool thing. And the inspiration I got the inspiration I got for it was from an old streamer back on Justin.tv, a guy named Sean Plott. Day 9, he had a show called the Day 9 Daily that went for an hour and a half. And that was an hour and a half of StarCraft 2 strategy, where he would take professional players, analyze their replays for an hour and a half with a particular theme, and then he'd upload it on YouTube. And he had one of the most popular streams at that time, back before Twitch TV was Twitch TV. And I was like, you know what? I can do that with online content. I'm going to tie it in with a podcast. And guess what? Here I am. Let's give it a fucking go. Let's give it a go. And so that's the story of my I don't know everything. That's the story of everything. How I got here, what I'm doing now, and that's that. So at this point, what I want to do is go through a few questions that I have taken from Discord, the Casually Explained Discord, if you're interested in joining, and also from a couple from Reddit, because I asked this ages ago when I first started the idea of having a podcast, and I never followed up. Take a few questions from Reddit, but all the future episodes, I'm going to be taking questions from Discord. But then I'm going to take some questions and comments from chat. So I'm going to go through these, and then we're going to make our way to the live chat and see if you guys have any questions that you want to ask me. So let's just take a look. I have them written down here. And these are some genuine questions here that people have been asking. So let's start here. So this is one from Reddit that I asked, just because I wanted to get a few of these questions in here, from Sesame, who says, as a YouTuber who is called vlogging the YouTube endgame, what is your opinion on the increasingly personal relationship between creators and viewers? And the reason I chose this question is because I think it ties in pretty well with this theme of the podcast. And what I think is quite interesting is, I have made a joke before about vlogging being the YouTube endgame, but the theme that I think is quite interesting is that people are really interested in people that they, watch their content. They see them make a bunch of stuff, like say celebrities, like take someone like Post Malone. It's like he has really popular music, and then GQ comes out with a video that's like, take a look at Post Malone's jewelry collection, and that gets like 6 million views because people are like, what does Post Malone have as jewelry? And I want to see him talk about it. And I think there's a very interesting relationship between the art, the art. I was going to say art for like musicians, but like say the content that you make in terms of YouTubers, the content that you make, shit we're doing is certainly not art, but the content that you make, and then people's interest in the content, and therefore you as the person who created it. And I think there's two facets to that. And the thing with the vlogging that I find quite interesting is it's so much, it combines those two. Exactly. It's saying, this is the person that I am, and the person that I am is also the content that I make. But you also see that the best vloggers manufacture situations. Shout outs certain forests in Japan and shit. But, that type of thing. Casey Neistat going to a water park. You're there to watch the water park, but you're there to watch Casey Neistat and buds in the water park. And so for me, like, I think it's pretty interesting because, like, say this idea of a podcast in general, and say maybe the other show that I want to do, I think it's quite interesting because it's like, to me, making the YouTube content I do with the Casually Explained stuff is me being quote unquote creative. It's me making some work. It's like an author writing a book. And then that's one sort of pile. And then there's people who read that or look at it or watch it, and they're like, I'm interested in the person who actually made this. And then they can go to this second section, which is, say, podcasts and other genres of things. And that's kind of like the difference between like The Simpsons and like Matt Groening, or however you say his name. It's like the person who made it versus the thing that they've actually made. And so I think that's quite interesting. But I think that's only going to get bigger as time goes along. And like the things that people make and who they are become more and more similar. All right, so we have a question from Max Planet from here in the chat. I've seen him type "oof" just a second ago. In regards to not revealing your face to viewers, do you do it because you find it helps keep your personal life separate from your online persona? And to be honest, the only reason why I don't have my face in any YouTube videos is because there's no reason to. If I had a good reason to, like I was mentioning before, maybe I wanted to make some content where I'm in it, and I need to be because it's like a skit or something funny, then I do it. If I got invited on the Joe Rogan podcast, H3H2 podcast, I'd do it 100%. But making the cartoons, like, I don't need to be in it, and I don't want to go plastering my face into it because I feel like kind of ruins it, I think I don't really have any. I think some people want to have their face out there for the sake of having their face out there, and it's like, no thanks. No thanks, buddo. All right, so then we have a question from Spade, also from the chat, who is the fifth biggest fan. Self-proclaimed fifth biggest fan. When it comes to your balance of work and play, how important do you think it is to find enjoyment in what you do versus just having a job that makes you money so you can do fun shit on the side? I'm having a bit of a conflict right now in deciding whether I want to find a job that pays super well or that I will like a lot and be average income. Coding related field. And look, it's like, obviously I'm not going to be there telling you to do one thing or the other. I think it's up to you to decide that, especially given the fact that, I was kind of like, yo, fuck this shit. I'm out. I'm making YouTube videos. But I think what you can really ask yourself is what I was thinking recently. Look, let's put it this way. I think it's absolutely the most important thing that you prioritize something that you enjoy doing and that you're actually going to, make it through the day feeling happy about it. Because ultimately your job is most of your day. At the same time, you could also say, well, do I want to take a job at Google where I'm kind of low on the ladder and I'm just coding and I'm not enjoying that much? Or do I want to take a job at a startup where it's like high risk, high return? Maybe, I could be the biggest in the world, or like maybe I'll just, fail and drop out. I don't know. Like when you're getting those type of, asking yourself those types of questions, like those are hard. Those are hard questions, and there's no right or wrong answer. Like you can take the high risk, high return. You can take the low risk, slowly build your career over a period of time. I think it's a hard balance to play, but it's like you need to have a strategy in place is all there is to it. If you're going to go into a job where you have that high, like say something like YouTube, where it's like people generally speaking have pretty good reimbursement for doing YouTube, even with Patreon and stuff too. If you have a Patreon, man, people make a lot of money doing YouTube, but in 3 years it could be gone. So if you're going to take this kind of burn the candle at both ends type career / job, make sure you have an exit plan, like a way to know when it's not working out anymore and you can go do something else. And same with if you want to take a very conventional career route, have a plan for progressing and have an idea of like, well, the job's going to suck at the beginning, but I think it's going to get better as time goes on. So when you join, you need a plan of how you're going to ascend those ranks and get those jobs that you want to have. And then at a certain point saying like, well, it's not working. Maybe I need to improve my skill set. Maybe I need to go back to school, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's the way that you want to look at it. Just have those contingencies in place, but commit to something with a plan. I think that's the way to go. And not stay in there, it's a sinking ship or whatever it may be. And especially if you're young, which you are young, because I know, then it's like, look, anything you do is just going to be a great experience. There's nothing you could do now that you're not going to be able to recover from and learn from, and it's going to ultimately be beneficial in the long run. So we have a question from Mess Express, who is the keeper of the questions, regular of the chat, mod of the chat, who has her own Discord channel dedicated to her questions. Because I think she writes them down and just takes them from some book somewhere, but maybe not. At least she spends some time figuring them out, I'm pretty sure. And she reminded me to answer the question, how tall are you? Because that's probably the most common question I get. And my answer to that is go to Casually Explained 10 Pieces of Life Advice, timestamp 1 minute 20. And that'll be your answer. Okay, so we have some more questions from Mess Express that I'm just going to power through. Do you have plans for after your YouTube... Do you have plans for after your YouTube career eventually fails? Yeah, I'm gonna do cam shows and audiobooks. Okay, so if your house caught on fire and you only had time to save one item, what would that one thing be and why? I would save my hard drive because I am not losing all of my videos. And by videos I mean porn. They do not torrent themselves. Okay, last question. What does an average day look like for you? Bleak. No, usually I wake up. I've been trying to wake up earlier. I've been trying to wake up by like 9 a.m. Used to sleep in a lot and it was just bad. So I usually wake up at 9 a.m. I wake up, have some coffee. I go in periods where I kind of have less coffee or more coffee depending on my tolerances. But I wake up, have some coffee, spend an hour or two working on a video. Then I go to the gym, come back from the gym. Usually either do a little bit of work or just like clean the house or get groceries or whatever, just some random shit. And then I stream from 5 to 8 most days of the week. And then after 8, I just kind of, I don't know. It varies. Sometimes I do more work, but usually I just, I don't know. Do something else. Whatever. You can use your imagination. All right, so then we only have a couple more questions from here, and then I'm going to take some questions from chat. Tetrax says, if you didn't discover / make it on YouTube, do you think you would have still enjoyed the path your life was headed for at that point? Well, this is kind of related to the coding question that was a little bit earlier, or what to do with your job and that type of stuff. And to me, it was like my plan was like, even when I was thinking about dropping out of school, it's like I wanted to make sure I had good enough grades that I could get into any engineering that I wanted, if that were the way that I was going. So that required like a 75% average, and I think I finished my first year with like a 77% average or something like that. So I was like, okay, I'm good. That's what I aim for. That's good. And look, my plan the whole time was like, I wanted to go into software engineering so I knew how to program, so I could make software and then never work at a job. So I could be, Mark Zuckerberg, or I'd rather not be him. I'd rather be more Evan Spiegel. Shout outs to Evan Spiegel, the founder of Snapchat, now dating Miranda Kerr. Dude, good for him, dude. Living that life. I think he's a bit more of a jock. He's like a computer science jock. So respect to him. All right, so we have just a couple more questions. Max Planet asks, worst and best parts about visiting France. Also, did you find out you're prepared enough with your French speaking skills, or did you have to rely on English much? Well, that was my problem, because when I went to France, I spoke no French at all. I spoke zero French. And when I went there, I decided in my head, for some weird reason, that I would only speak French. I don't know why. I mean, unless it was like someone in my class who spoke English, and I just speak, and everyone spoke English, so I just speak English to them. But when it came to going in the streets, talking to people, I was like, I'm living here, so I have to speak French. And I was just in a complete wreck. I was so anxious and so stressed all the time, and my French was not very good. And I went back not that long ago to France with I met Sam there and met a friend that I had there, and I just spoke English like all the time. And then occasionally when I knew how to say something in French, I'd just say it in French. And it was great. I wish I would have done that more. Like, for some reason, I just thought I could only speak French when I was there, and it was a huge mistake, and I just didn't get to experience it as much as I could have. But the worst and best parts about visiting France, well, the roads are terrible. Like, I didn't drive, but it's like I could have just, you just die at any point because people are just running you over. The traffic lights are terrible. Food delivery is terrible. I mean, just like the whole infrastructure of the city is built for like 1,000 years ago, because it literally is from like 1,000 years ago or something like that, 500 years ago, I don't know. And so that's like the whole way the city is laid out. There's no air conditioning. It's really weird. But the best parts were probably, I mean, the food's obviously pretty good, unless you're not, I didn't want to spend much money, so I just ate baguettes and stuff. Those are also very cheap. Cheese was good. Cheese is amazing. Wine was very cheap, very good. You get 2 liters of sangria for $2, €2. I think the best part was being able to travel anywhere else you wanted in Europe for like a $50 return, €50 return plane flight. It was amazing. I've been to so many cool places in Europe, and it was so cheap. That was great. All right, so we have just one more question from the Discord, which is from Foolin' Granules, who says, when it comes to working with others, what factors come into play that affect whether collaboration happens? i.e., general reluctance, incompatible branding, different creative visions, similar tone or subject, localness, so locality or distance. Basically, when it comes to YouTube collaborations, all that it really takes is two people who kind of think each other makes similar content. They'd have good, they have similar viewership, and they want to work together. That's about it. I'm part of a Discord that has a bunch of some really popular YouTube creators in it, and they're constantly just asking each other they want to collaborate. You can really imagine it like if all these different YouTubers are just like a high school class of kids, and you're like, hey man, do you want to come make a video with me? And they're like, no, I don't like you. It's exactly the same thing. They're like, oh, sorry, I'm kind of busy. Or it's like, you get 1 million views and they get 50,000 views. And they're like, hey, do you want to collaborate? And it's like, well, you're just trying to collaborate so you can get more viewers. It's like, you're not really able to reciprocate, So it really just comes down to how much people like you, how familiar you are with them. Are you friends? And then also, if you're not that close together, it's like, do you make similar content? Do you have compatible or incompatible viewer bases? How much, what you can really, how much effort it's going to be. Like, to me, I'm kind of toning down the collaborations. I never really did many, but the thing with collaborations is kind of lame is that usually the way that people do it are like, hey, by the way, it'll be like 30 seconds of content just kind of plugged into the middle of someone else's video. It'd be like a miniature. It won't be a crossover. It'll be like implanting a piece of your content into their content. And sometimes it's kind of novel, sometimes it's kind of fun, but to get that 30 seconds of content takes like 2 minutes worth of content work if you were to make your own video. It's really hard to kind of do that right, and it's stressful. So I think the best collaborations are ones where it's like two people with different skill sets but similar viewer bases work together to make something they couldn't have made without each other's help. And those are the best in my opinion. But as far as collaborations go, there's also a lot to be said for, you guys have similar viewer bases, but your audience might not know about their audience, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Is there a way we can work together? And it really just comes down to the same way that you'd work together. Think about it in high school. Hey, get yourself into groups. Who do you want to work with? And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. All right. So I think that is all the questions I have chosen for this particular episode. So at this point, I would like to open it up to the chat, and we'll take maybe 20 minutes of questions from the chat. Which once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, then head on over to twitch.tv/casually explained, and you can view this live at 7 p.m. Pacific on Thursdays. All right, so let's see what we have in here. Spade Green says, casually explained, when it comes to dating and relationships, are you actively looking for a partner, and at what point do you brag about your YouTube channel? Yo, that's honestly the YouTube channel, nail in the coffin. Like, not I have to say, I had a pretty awkward experience. I went to a sort of a party with a group of friends, and it was like, a friend of a friend's party. We didn't know anyone there. We go in, and I was hanging out with Sam, and this girl walks up to us and was like, hey, how are you guys doing? Because she could tell, I imagine she could tell that we're just kind of hanging out, not knowing anyone. And we eventually started talking about like what you're doing, like what you're studying, or if you're at school. And she was like, hey, what do you do, Sam? And Sam was like, I study computer science. And she's like, all right, moving on. And then asked me, because poor Sam, no one's ever interested in engineering and computer science. And then she asked me, she was like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, and I'm so awkward about it, because like I don't want to ruin the YouTube channel, because I feel like the YouTube channel is so much so much better than I am. So I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to tarnish that reputation. But I'm like, oh, I make YouTube videos. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. What's your channel? And then I show her I take my phone out and I search Casually Explained. And I open it up and I'm like, oh, I'll just show you. I just click on my channel and the first video that comes up on mobile is she into you? It fills the entire screen. So I'm at this party like, hey, I make YouTube videos, girl. Check out this video. Is she into you? Like, oh man, big yikes, dude. At any rate, she was kind of weirded out by it, and I didn't realize till afterwards how stupid that was. But then as we were leaving, she looked it up again and saw how many subscribers there were, and then was really impressed. So anyway, you know, we out here. Not that hot. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Okay, so CJ Turtle 7 says, Casually Explained, did you deadass just move to France in spite of UBC? To spite UBC, or did you actually have a rational thinking process behind the decision? Oh yeah, well, I just wanted to be in some completely new environment because I wasn't really having a good time where I was and had nothing to do. But honestly, the seed that was planted was 100% spiting UBC. And I did, that was when I did that little bit of landscaping, it was for my chemistry teacher in grade 12, and he told me about how he went to France when he was younger, and he said that he showed up with a phrase book and 2 pairs of skis, and that was it. And I was like, that was stupid. Why did you do that, Mr. McCarthy? And he was like, I don't know. I just thought it'd be something to do. And then he's like, by the way, if you ever decide to go on a trip, a really economical food is pasta and mustard and butter. And I was like, that sounds terrible. And he's like, everyone says it's terrible, but they always love it. And so I was like, well, I'll make it. It was fucking terrible. I don't know what he was doing. Anyway, moving on. All right. We have a question from... I guess we'll take a question from Vidkadace. Casually Explained, in one of your videos you said you grew up in Australia. Do you miss it, and do you ever want to go back? I did go back. I went back a year ago, back to Hobart, Tasmania, and it was great. Everything seemed a little bit smaller than it was before. Like, cause like, you know, literally, I was like, this place is... I remember these distances being much more vast, but it was great. Like, the thing that's interesting about Hobart, Tasmania is that a really rich guy, a guy who made like a couple $1 billion because he made this software that took in, you know, like 50 different factors when betting on horse races, and he made a bunch of money that way, along with some other various gambling things, but like smart person gambling, not dumb person poker gambling, you know. But he made a bunch of money. He was worth billions of dollars, and he actually had a private art collection that he had. And he was like, you know, it'd be really cool. And I don't know if he was from Hobart or he lived there or whatever, but he's like, you know, it'd be really cool if I bought a mountain and just dug a bat cave into it and put all my art in there. And so he did. He spent like $500 million or something, making Hobart into, instead of this kind of backwater, everyone makes fun of it town, he turned it into like this bustling, artistic, artisanal city that now has this, you know, this museum of new and old art, and all these like interesting cocktail lounges and like artisanal bars that are popping up. Those are sort of unrelated to this, you know, endeavor, but it's much more hip and happening than it was before, that's for sure. And that was really cool, and I liked it because it was like one guy who was like responsible for a lot of that impact, and I thought that was crazy. But one little side note that I thought was funny, did I even share this? Did I say this before? I don't think I shared this before. But when I moved from Australia to Canada, we had this thing in grade 7 or 8 where a person came into our class, and they were like a real extreme environmentalist type person, and they were there to educate us on environmentalism. And they were like, all right, so I want everyone to stand on this map of the world. And it was like a carpet, you know, like a fairly large carpet. And they got everyone in the class to sort of stand in different spots. So I went and stood on Tasmania because that's where I was from, and or lived. And they were like, well, this is what happens with global warming. And they rolled the carpet up, so the south part, the southern tip of South America disappeared, Antarctica disappeared, the Arctic disappeared, and Tasmania and New Zealand disappeared. And then I was like, what do you mean? Like they're not going to disappear. Like if water levels rise, like the land is going to disappear equally across the entire world based on the change in water levels. And they were like, no, all the lowest places and the highest places are going to disappear. So like the Arctic's going to be gone because it melts. And then, Tasmania and New Zealand is going to disappear. And I was like, this is definitely wrong. But anyway, I just, obviously let it slide because I'm just a kid in class. And then later they're like, okay, well, here's another quiz. Where in the world are there temperate rainforests? And someone's like, here. And, which is true. In BC, there, in the BC and the west coast of North America, there's a ton of temperate rainforests. And they're like, that's right. That's very good. Where is another place? And someone's like, Europe. And they're like, yeah, there are some in Europe. Yeah, fair enough. And they're like, where's the other place that there are a lot of temperate rainforests? And I knew this because I lived in Australia. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of temperate rainforests in Australia, particularly in the south. And she was like, oh, no, I'm afraid that's actually wrong. There are temperate rainforests in New Zealand and in Tasmania. And I was like, oh, but Tasmania is part of Australia. And she was like, no, it's not. And then I was like, holy shit, where have I been living? So anyway, that's when I learned that Tasmania is not actually part of Australia. All right. Caspillo, casually explained, do you think you'd ever move away to a new city and live there for a long time, or are you pretty set in staying local? Well, my actual plan when I went to France was legitimately to not leave. I was going to go to university there. That was my plan. And eventually it just fell apart, but because I didn't like it there. But yeah, I thought about it. Like, I mean, if there's a situation where I, moved to New York or moved to LA, like I'd probably do it. Because like all those types of things, like when you're given like an opportunity, like this is obviously if an opportunity were to arise for whatever reason. If you're given an opportunity, especially if you're young, and you can just come back if something goes wrong, like I think it's so good to take those chances and give it a go. Cause like I would just regret it forever. If I have an opportunity and someone's like, hey, do you want to come to LA? Do you want to come do this project? And I'm like, this is a promising project. And I go and say it falls through, I just come back. It's not that big of a deal. Lost some time, maybe lost some money or who knows. But I honestly just like living with regret is a rough thing. So any type of time that comes up, that's where I'd kind of lean. Who's your favorite porn star? That would be myself. What are your thoughts on Exerbia? Saw a comment of yours in one of his videos. Yeah, Exerbia. I haven't watched Exerbia's stuff for a while, but I don't know. He's like he's so cynical and so sarcastic. I think it's good. I enjoy his content. I don't really have much more to say about it than that. I enjoy his content. I don't watch all of it, but if he has a popular video, I'll check it out. Burnt Lasagna 1355 says, at Casually Explained, you come off as someone who has their shit together. How do you get anywhere close to that, and what are your life tips? Being good at deception. you just trick them. You live your life like it's Facebook, like an Instagram post. It's easy peas. Well, okay, hang on. Let me see if I have any actual advice. I mean, my only actual advice for like getting your shit together is setting goals for yourself and really committing to them in a way where you say, this is something that I want to accomplish that would make my life better. And then you make a plan to do it, to execute, and then you try to do it. And if you aren't able to do it, say to yourself, okay, well, what were the hard parts? What were the parts that I didn't like? What were the parts that I did like? What are the parts that were easy or not easy? And then how can I make those difficult parts more manageable? So as an example, like I think my favorite example is when people like want to lose weight. And it's like, oh, sometimes the solution is like, oh, you know what? You get like real strong cravings for certain foods, really strong cravings for like sugary things. And it's like, try a ketogenic diet, 100%. Other people, they don't have strong cravings for food, but it's just like, they're kind of just like not very strong, not very in shape. It's like, get on a weightlifting program, and it's very important that, especially too, you might be like, well, I want to go to the gym and get in shape and like lift weights and like be stronger, but it's like I can never get the motivation. And it's like, well, what you can try doing is, instead of trying to, you know, get hella jacked, go and try to lift more weight than you did last time. And that changes the goal, and it changes the motivation system. And that's the thing. Like, almost everyone I know who loves going to the gym, they go because they're trying to beat personal records, not because they're trying to look fucking yoked, you know? That's like the byproduct. And yeah, if you ever have something, like if you have a goal that you're trying to achieve and you know to make your life better, and you're running constantly into walls, it's like, really stop and analyze and say, well, okay, what is it that I could do that would address this particular issue? And do your best to slowly progress your way through those problems. And I think one of the most important things too is like, be patient. Like, sometimes things that you think in a perfect world would take 3 months, like, because the world's not perfect, it'll take you 3, 5, 10 years. Same thing when people are always like, oh, what are you going to do to, how do you find your passion? And it's like, well, you know, you're 18, like fucking try some shit and maybe you'll figure out by the time you're 30, you know? Heartgun says, casually explain, how long does it take you for you to come up with your content? Pretty much everything you say is actually true, yet it's funny to hear it said out loud because no one likes to acknowledge it. Oh, well, yeah, thanks. Most of my videos take about 40 hours to 100 hours to make. I spend most of the time writing them. Yeah, I mean, I just try to like think of a topic that people might like or that I'm interested in, and then I just start writing about it. And you never really know where you're going to go or where things are going to come from, but you pretty much always draw from experience and that type of stuff. One thing that's kind of tricky, you know, from my perspective is like, for me, I would consider myself like, you know, I make YouTube videos, but it's like comedy writing, and that's very different from like a comedian. Like a comedian who goes up on stage and does that stuff, like most of their work is like performance. Like they have to perform, and that's the hard part. I mean, coming up with material is also the hard part, but for me, all I have to do is really come up with material. I don't have to perform it, because I can try 100 times in a recording, get the right delivery or whatever. So if you're the kind of person who has to go up on stage and like do it 1,000 times, you get an idea of what's good and what's not good based on how people react, like if they laugh or boo or whatever. And so for me, like the way that I do it is I read a lot of I have to read a lot of information based on something that I'm researching, depending what it is, or it's something that I have to have done a lot of. You know, I have to pick a topic that I know pretty well, because I need to know how an audience is going to react. Like if you're making a joke and the point of the joke is for it to be relatable, then you have to know that it's going to be relatable. And in order to know that, it's like you have to have lived it. You have to know that your friends would agree with it. You have to know that like maybe you've read 100 posts on Reddit that all say the same thing. And then you know that it's a generally, accepted type of thing. And then I would imagine myself, like, if I told this joke, would people laugh in a group? If if Louis C.K. told this joke, would people laugh? If Bill Burr told this joke, would people laugh? And it's almost like this, you try to be empathetic and imagine yourself in those positions. And that's the way that you kind of narrow down and figure out what type of content you want to make. And to be honest, I have probably 100, 200 Word documents that have like one paragraph in them, where I start a topic, write something I'm excited about, and then scrap it because I have nothing more to say. And then sometimes I go back to it, sometimes I don't. So, it's not like this is the next video and this is the next video and this is the next video. It's a mess. It's a mess. All right, I'm just going to take a couple more questions. Giraffester, resident Giraffester. I saw a couple of people ask this. Have you found any porn of your stick figure? If not, would you want to? Giraffester, I don't even need to answer that one. Why would you ask that, dude? But yeah, the answer is yes. So Max Planet says, casually explained, starting a new job Monday in software development, funnily enough. Do you have any tips for getting over new person nerves anxiety? Well, congratulations. That's fantastic. Get that big job. Look, I can't really tell you too much on new person nerves anxiety. The only thing I can say is, like, if you're starting a new job, like, one thing that's very important is don't go in there acting like you're the smartest, coolest, most knowledgeable person ever. Go in and play your role in a very charitable and good-hearted way. You're the new guy, so go in there and be authentic and explain the stuff that you know and don't know. Ask legitimate questions that you're really curious about, and then treat people like, hey man, I'm really excited here to work with you. I heard that you did this, did that. Do a bit of research, ask some questions that you think are good questions, and then just like do your job really well, and that's all you can do, you know? I think it's interesting. One thing that's really helpful to think is like, there's two types of anxiety. One anxiety is like you're fearful that something is going to go wrong, and the other one is you're excited of the potential that you could have. Like excitement and nervousness are very similar feelings, and if you can try to lean towards that excitement for, man, this is a great opportunity, that helps get you in a bit of a mental state for that. All right, last couple of questions. CJ Turtle says, Casually Explained, do you suffer from crippling anxiety every time you put out a video in fear it won't be funny, or have you built up confidence? Yeah, it's actually exactly that. I used to be so stressed out about, sorry, I'm just checking the, I have no idea what music is playing. Hopefully it's not weird music. I used to be so stressed out. I'd be like, couldn't sleep, stay up late, upload the video, and then like I'd see on Reddit, it would get downvoted immediately to 0. And the like to dislike ratio on YouTube would be worse than usual. And I'd be so tempted to just delete the video. And then I just wouldn't, you know. Eventually I got to the point where it was the type of thing where I could make a video that was like an 8 out of 10, but I could also make a video that was a 2 out of 10. And then over time you get the level of skill where it's like, you never really have bad episodes. You just have worse episodes than other episodes. I think, I forget which comedian said this, but it's like, when you're like Louis C.K. or like Bill Burr level comedian, it's like your version, or like Jerry Seinfeld, it's like, or Dave Chappelle, your bad shows just mean that people, you know, they didn't like it that much. They're like, yeah, that was an average episode. And that's kind of the point that I got to, where I was like, you know what, I know when an episode is not that good, and then I won't release it, and I have to work on it more. So that's really what it is. Whopper777 says, Casually Explained, has your work ethic improved over time? No, but I'm better at planning things that I would enjoy doing. So if you look at my strict output of things that I'm doing over time, I think it gets better, but in terms of my actual work ethic, probably not too much. Like if you were to compare myself to 2 years ago, it's like I spend more time writing, I spend more time drawing, I spend more time in the gym, I spend more time streaming, obviously, and doing related things, spend more time doing quote unquote YouTube business stuff. But I don't think my work ethic's any better. It's just the way that I start organizing and handling those projects, and when I'm doing them, how I schedule my day, how I organize my time, is just made it more enjoyable. And maybe we can go into that some other time, I think. All right, so I'll take one more question, and then we're gonna do VIP applications. Ooh, what is that? We'll find out. I like this one. Malithicus says, Casually Explained, what's your go-to alcoholic beverage? My favorite alcoholic beverage is gin and tonic. Aside from that, I really like, okay, so I'm gonna go through the different ones. So gin and tonic is my favorite one to just drink. If there's a special occasion, yo, give me that champagne. That's some good shit. I'll take that. I don't mind wine. I don't mind beer. And if you're on a date, here's the go-to. This is what you do. Here's the way you do. You know, you have a beer. That's the starter strat. Then you go to a place that has cocktails. You know what you get? French 75. That's the go-to. Everyone loves French 75, and sometimes they give you a little miniature bottle of champagne to go with it. French 75 is gin, lemon juice, sugar, and champagne. And champagne, I mean sparkling wine, because you know we ain't got money for that. We ain't got money for that. So that's just a little pro tip for you if you have someone to impress with Valentine's Day coming up, which I don't, but I just throw it out there in case anyone needs it. Okay, so That's great. All right. Well, that will conclude the thank you, Draftster, for doing that good slow mode moderation. Thank you for anyone who tuned in to this episode, anyone on YouTube who's watching the VOD, or people in the chat who are listening in. And at this point in the night, what I want to do is take a look at some VIP applications. Hey, oh, no Valentine? No. But that's okay, because my birthday is on February the 9th. I'm going to Las Vegas on February 15th. Let's fucking go. Valentine's Day? Don't need it. I'll be on a plane. Nice. You never know what's going to happen. Who knows? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, you know? Going with my brother. Might get married to him. Who knows? All right, so we're going to take a look at VIP applications. So what VIP applications are is there's some OGs of the stream who started this tradition where people will make almost like resumes where they submit to me and we show them on stream and we have a democratic vote. And just reading Giraffe's comment. And we have a democratic vote, and the winner gets to have a VIP badge attached to their name. This is from Giraffester, expert moderator of the channel, for the introduction of the VIP applications.
The first, hopefully weekly, VIP application competition. This is the event created on the basis of creativity. It is how I became a mod and many others. This is the first one for VIPs. How it works is casually explained, Jamie, will show the applications. After that you get to vote to decide who wins. We hope you enjoy the many creative videos, essays, and even pictures this week, and maybe other surprises along the way. Enjoy.
Wow, thank you, Giraffester. That was excellent. I love that. Okay, on to the applications. Okay, first we have power bombs, fairly low effort. No offense, power bomb, dude. What the heck is this? What are we looking at? VIP app from Powerbomb97. Vote for me. I'm at work. Thanks. Oh, he's at work. Okay, okay. Shoutouts to Powerbomb. He's at work. Gotta respect that, dude. This guy's out there. Oh wait, hang on. What the fuck? You're in the chat. Doesn't make any sense. All right. Okay, hang on. Okay, what am I doing here? I gotta get the next one. Okay, here's the next one. It is from Rovono. This one time 4 years ago, I threw a paper ball across the room and made it into the trash. Very respectable. Reasons to make Rovo VIP. It'll make me happy. I could hold my breath for like a minute. As VIP, I'll make sure the chat gets longer recess and ice cream every day. I'll call out Casually Explained when he has a bruh moment. A vote for Ravono is a vote against Yoko Ono. Oh my god. Yeah, good shit. I'll consistently gnome Casually Explained. That is very true. He has done that. Vote for me for a free iPod. Okay, this is a very strong legal clause. And I'm sorry about Karen. Okay, good shit. Okay, next one. This one is called Investing in Casually Explained.
Why you should invest $4.99 into the Casually Explained.
Oh, here we go.
Why you should invest $4.99 into the Casually Explained YouTube channel. If you're like most millennials, this is you. Poor, depressed, and inspired. You may think you'll make money on things like flipping houses, timeshares, or the stock market. You want to be rich, have a trophy wife, and an exotic car. But what if I told you that there's a way to invest in your future? That's right. I, Spade Green, have a way for you to invest in a high return, high market value, untapped market. So what's the secret? What is it, this opportunity of grand economic elegance?
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da 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 da
Now to you, this may look like a normal live stream website like MyFreeCams or Cam4. This is live streaming for gamers. That's right, gamers. Our society's treasure. That's where we find our investment opportunity. With the help of supporting kind viewers like you. For just $4.99 a month, you can unlock a world of benefits. But don't take it from me. Take it from your mom's bank account. No, really. Just grab your debit card and head over to twitch.tv/casuallyexplained.
Wow. I like that one because of the message that it sends. Okay, we have the last one. That was from Spade, by the way, for the votes. And now we have this one from Elite, I think. Isn't it also his birthday today? I think that's right. It might be. Happy birthday. My life motto is if you can... Oh, right. My life motto is if you can lift a fuck ton of weight, you can't be missed. Jamie 2019. That's true. I did say that. That is true. I did say that. Elite. He's cool as ice. He's got a duck. That's pretty sick. He's got a dog. He's 18. He's a trustable person. He can speak English. He's pretty friendly. Decent at MS Paint. That might be overqualified for the job. Very good at being an important person. I think I have never really tried it. True. That's good modesty. Get it? Modesty. Holy shit. He's part of Armada's Discord server. That's fucking insane. Maybe it's the Armada. The Armada. Here's a picture of Giraffester hanging himself, but he can't because he's a giraffe. I learn, I earn, I destroy. Facts and logic. I employ. To all the new viewers, the fox is a brand thing. I am not a furry. That's good to know, in case anyone was wondering. Here's a dog. It's a very cute dog. All right, solid. That's some good shit. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. Holy shit, it's not even fucking close. Look, we have a winner. We have a fucking winner. Who is it? Is it the 5th biggest fan? Sprayed Green, you're gonna have to say something so I can see what your username is. Isn't how to spell it. Congratulations, Sprayed Green. You have won the VIP of the week. An excellent submission. And one that is timeless and should be shown at every possible opportunity for anyone who has Twitch Prime and would like to support the show. All right, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in to the first episode of the Staying In podcast. I hope that you enjoyed yourself. I hope that it wasn't too weird. Hope that it was at least interesting. And that, again, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, the super secret future YouTube channel, which will soon be renamed. And tune in next time at 7 p.m. Pacific on Thursday for the Staying In podcast, or 7 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday for the new show, What Makes It Good. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.